All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to go through this little editing and proofreading exercise using our editor's code here. This time it's on the Sydney Opera House. So obviously the first thing I'm going to do is put my name, Mr. A. Okay, and the date is, what's the date today? It's the 15th. 15th of the 8th. There we go. Okay, so we've been practicing using this editor's code here at our school, and you guys all had to do this sheet last week in reading groups. So we're going to go through now and have a look and see how you went, and you can compare what you do to mine and see if you missed anything, but also you can probably come up to me afterwards and tell me if I've missed anything, because that's probably likely going to happen, but we'll see what we can come up with at the start here. So let's start by reading the passage here. Let's have a look. The Sydney Opera House is a multi-venue performing arts centre in Sydney. Now, straight away, great thing to see a capital at the start of a sentence, but I know that the Sydney Opera House is a proper noun. We've done a lot of work this term on proper nouns, and we all know that proper nouns are the names of buildings or places or countries and things like that, and they definitely need a capital letter. So I'm going to use the little 2 underlined part, which here is part of our editor's code, which says that a capital is required. Right here, so the Sydney Opera House, there we go, they all need to have capital letters because it is a proper noun there. Okay, so the Sydney Opera House is a multi-venue performing arts centre in Sydney, Australia. Okay, and there's another one there. We know that Australia is a proper noun, okay, because it's the name of a country. So it definitely needs a capital. So again, I've used my double underline there to show that. Okay, it's one of the 20th century's most famous and distinctive buildings. All right, I can see a few things in here. First one I've noticed is some missing punctuation just here. So I'm going to put a circle there because it actually needs an apostrophe to say that it is. It is one of the 20th century. So I'll put a little apostrophe in there. And remember here, down here is this part of the code here, a little circle, say missing or incorrect punctuation. So it is one of the 20th century's most famous. Now that to me does not look right. So again, I've found a possible spelling error. I might come over to the have a go space over here and have a go of spelling it. So I'm going to say famous. So I'm pretty sure there's a U in there, and that looks pretty right to me. So I might put that up there. Famous. There we go. It's one of the 20th century's most famous and distinctive buildings. I'm not sure why there's a question mark there. I think I don't think that's right to have there because it's not a question. It is one of it's more of a statement there, so it's not a question. So I'm going to put down here again missing or incorrect punctuation. I'm going to put a circle around it and maybe just make it a little full stop there because I think it is the end of a sentence there, but that question mark does not need to be there. And I guess because it's the end of a sentence, the next word definitely needs a capital letter. So again, using my editor's code there for my capital letters, I'm going to put the 2 little lines under the I and turn that into a capital I there. So it was designed by Danish architect Bjørn Utzon and opened on the 20th of October 1973. So let's have a look here. It was designed by Danish. Okay, again, we need to have a capital there for a proper noun because it's referring to a country, Danish. Architect. Now that is not very right there. So I'm going to have a go over here. The K's don't look right for me. So I'm going to have a go here and say architect. Okay, architect there. Again, I think it's got a CH there, maybe. I know that sound there. I'm sounding it out in my head and chunking it out in my brain there. Architect. No, I think it has to be a T there, so I might do that there. Architect. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's the way to spell it. And if I'm not sure, I won't put it in there, but what I'll do is I'll have to check that maybe with a dictionary. I'll do that a little bit later. So I'll check that one because I'm not quite sure, but I can always come back and do that a bit later. All right, now for my architect. From architect after that, I've got Jorn Utzon, and I know that Jorn Utzon is a name of somebody. He's the name of the architect. So Jorn has got a capital there, which is great, but his last name also needs a capital because he is a proper noun. Because it's the name of a person. So it was designed by Danish architect Jorn Utzon and opened on the 20th of October 1973. Authorised work began. Okay. So that needs a full stop there because that's the end of a sentence. Putting it all together like that didn't really make sense if I kept on going. It was just natural that a full stop goes there. Because a full stop goes there, at the start of a sentence, we definitely need a capital. So I've used my little a double underline there. Now I guess over here, because this full stop was missing, I could put a little circle there, and I've put in that full stop to show there. So I'm using my code there. Authorised work began to construct the Sydney. Authorise and construct, they're really great technical terms, aren't they? And we've been learning a lot about that in our informative text that we've been doing at the moment, using more technical words. Authorised work began to construct the Sydney Opera House in 1958. Sydney Opera House needs to have the capitals because, again, it is same as up here, it is a proper noun. Sydney Opera House in 1958. The Opera House is one. Okay, again, I think we're missing a full stop there. So I'm going to put that in there because I've got that missing punctuation. I'm using that circle. So again, we need a capital letter here. So the Opera House is one of, okay, so again, capital letter for the start of the sentence, capital letter for the name. Okay, again, we have the capital O for the proper noun. The Opera House is one of the most popular visitor attractions in Australia. Visitor, okay, that doesn't look right. It doesn't sound like, that's for sure. I think it's missing an I, but I'll bring it over here and have a go. In my have a go session, visit, I know it's spelled visit, visitor. So I'm going to do that. I'm pretty confident with that. That looks right. Visitor. Okay, visitor attractions in Australia, good proper noun there, has the capital, with more than 8 million people visiting, there's visit I guess, visiting the site annually. Now if I come back here and I have a look, attractions in Australia with more than 8 million, okay, that word is the past tense for eating. Okay, I know that the word 8 is spelled with an E, E-I-G-H-T. That looks right, so I'm going to put that there, E-I-G-H-T. 8 million people visiting, because that's the number, not the word 8 as in I ate an apple. So let's go back and read that to make sure it makes sense. So the Opera House is one of the most popular visitor attractions in Australia, with more than 8 million people visiting the site annually. Okay, again, there's some really good technical language here. Annually means every year, okay, yearly. So more than 8 million people visiting the site annually. Full stop. Also, comma, approximately 350,000 visitors. Now, because there was a comma there, I'll just hit it with my pen, that doesn't mean there has to be a capital afterwards. So that seems to be, again here, capital required or not required. That's not required here. Sorry, here. Not required there. So we can make that into a little a. They start at the start of a sentence, but the word approximately, again another good technical term, it's not a proper noun either, so it doesn't need a capital letter, especially after a comma. So we'll just use that part of the code there. Also, approximately 350,000 visitors take guided tours of the building each year. Full stop, okay, that looks pretty good to me. On the 28th of June 2007, the Sydney Opera House, here we go again, they're trying to pull me up with these proper nouns, okay, but I know that is the name of the Opera House, so each word in the name has to have a capital letter, just like each word in your name has a capital letter. It's the same with the Sydney Opera House and every proper noun there. Okay, the Sydney Opera House became, okay, I know that needs to say, that letter there, became, the A has to say its name, and I know it has a bossy E, but I might come up here and just have a go. Became, that's the one there, so I'm going to put a circle around that because it was a possible misspelt word, but we know that it is misspelt. Became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, UNESCO there is World Heritage Site. That will be another proper noun there, so that needs to be a capital. So there, we've made it there. Now, I'm thinking here that I've done a pretty good job, but obviously all good writers go back and reread their work all the time. You might have seen me do that a couple of times already as I was going through, but I'm going to go from the top and see, just read it to myself again, just to make sure it's all done the right thing. I know as part of my success criteria down here, I think it says I have reread, or I've read my writing to check that each sentence makes sense. So I'll do that now, so I can make sure I can give that a smiley face. The Sydney Opera House is a multi-venue performing arts centre in Sydney, Australia. It is, or it's, one of the 20th century's most famous and distinctive buildings. It was designed by Danish architect, I've got to come back and check that later, Bjørn Utzon, and opened on the 20th of October 1973. Full stop. Authorised work began to construct the Sydney Opera House in 1958. The Opera House is one of the most popular visitor attractions in Australia, with more than 8 million people visiting the site annually. Also, approximately 350,000 visitors take guided tours of the building each year. On 28th of June 2007, I guess I could put on the if I wanted, so I'm going to insert there. Where are we here? I could use that little triangle there. I could say on the. I don't think, it's not always necessary, but you probably heard me there just say it naturally. So on the 28th of June 2007, the Sydney Opera House became a UNESCO World Heritage Site, full stop. Okay, so I think I'm going pretty good right now, but what I'm going to do now is just have a look at my little self-assessment. So I'm going to assess this by myself and go through these little task sheets here and have a look to see how I actually went by myself. Before I say I'm finished, of course, I'm going to check. So I have circled the spelling errors. Now I've done 4 there. I'm pretty sure that I've got all of them. So I'm going to give myself a smiley face there. I have used my have a go space to attempt to spell words correctly. Well, I've done that up here, so I can tick that one off. So I'll give myself a happy face there. I have read my writing to check that each sentence makes sense. Well, we just did that, and it seemed to all make pretty good sense there. So I have checked my capital letters and full stops in my writing. Well, I think that's the thing that we did the most of today. Let's have a look at that. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've upgraded a word with a better vocabulary choice for at least one word. Now, I haven't done that, but I think as I was reading, I did find a word that I thought I could upgrade. So let's go back. It was down here where this sentence was here, where it says also approximately 350,000 visitors take guided tours of the building each year. Now I'm thinking of the word building here. Building is, I guess the Opera House is a building, but you know, there's lots of different words we could use for building. And I was thinking maybe of the word venue. Above there, use the word site, which is the site around it. But I'm thinking of the word venue maybe could make my work sound a little bit more technical. So I've upgraded that. So also, let me reread it. Also, approximately 350,000 visitors take guided tours of the venue each year. Okay, so I've upgraded a word with a better vocabulary choice for at least one word. I can say that I've done that now. I'm happy with that. I did it to one word. I've shown where a new paragraph is needed. Now, I haven't done that. But with the work that I've been doing with my informative text in writing, I know that it's important to have different paragraphs for different ideas. Now, there are a couple of different ideas in this text itself. So I want to see if I can find them. Now, the first part here, the couple of sentences, is sort of like a little bit of a general statement, which we've been learning about. And I think it ends here. The Sydney Opera House is a multi-venue performing arts centre in Sydney, Australia. It's one of the 20th century's most famous and distinctive buildings. Now, that is quite general, and I think it's a good sort of definition to tell us what it is. The next sentence starts talking about when it was designed and who designed it and when it was opened. So I think right here we could probably put this section on a new line to start a new paragraph because it's talking about a different idea. Now, if I come down here, you might have seen me put in this part of the code. Over here, to start a new paragraph, I'm going to use this little code here, which is, this sort of big straight C thing, I guess, to sort of say that's where I can start a new paragraph. So I've put that there because it starts talking about when it was designed and who designed it and when it was built, etc. It was designed by Danish architect Jorn Utzon and opened on the 20th of October. Authorised work began to construct. So this sentence here is also talking about the construction and when it was built. The Sydney Opera House in 1958. Full stop. The Opera House is one of the most popular visitor attractions. Okay, so now this starts talking about something different, a different idea here. This is talking about how it's a popular attraction, not when it was built. So I'm thinking down here, I might also start a new paragraph around here. So I'm going to use that part of the code again here. So now I can say that I've got first paragraph, second paragraph, I've got a third paragraph here because I've got 3 different ideas so far. Let me see if there's any more. It was designed by Danish architects, so that's talking about its construction. This one down here, the Opera House is one of the most popular visitor attractions in Australia with more than 8 million people visiting the site annually. This is talking about people coming to visit. Next sentence, also approximately 350,000 visitors. Okay, so this is still talking about visitors, so this is still part of it. Take guided tours of the building each year. All right, cool. So those 2 sentences there talk about visitors coming. Now let's see the last sentence. On the 28th of June 2007, the Sydney Opera House became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now I think that's a little bit of a different idea as well. So I think I could put that as a new paragraph there. Okay, so let's have a look. I've got sort of my general statement up the top. I've got an idea about construction and building the Opera House. I've got a different idea about people visiting, and I've got this sort of concluding sentence here, which is different again to the people visiting, talking about how it's become a World Heritage Site. So I've got a few different ideas. So 1, 2, 3, 4 different ideas. So I've got 4 different paragraphs there. The first one, of course, is, starting up at the start. Okay, so I've got my 4 different paragraphs there. So I guess now, because I had a good think about that text about the different ideas, I have shown when new paragraph is needed. So I can colour that one in. So I think now that I've done a pretty good job, so I obviously can see that I've given myself a pretty good assessment here. It's now important that I go off maybe and find a peer, somebody in my reading group, and maybe talk to them now about, or maybe swap my work with them and get them to go through and see if I've done the right thing. Now, if I get somebody else's work, I'm not just going to copy what they put. I'm going to actually give the time, and I'm going to make sure I go through, because I might find something in here that maybe they said they did a really good job, but I might say, oh, hang on a minute, you only circled maybe one word, or there are some other words there, so I might do that. Also, they might say that they did a bad job at one, but I might think about, oh, actually, I think they've done a better job than they think they have, so I might actually give them, a bit more of a smiley face or something like that. And that's the important thing about doing a peer assessment. You're helping other people to learn. So it's important that you don't just rush through it and go, yeah, no, it's all good. It's important that you take the time to work. So at the end of this clip, instead of going, oh yeah, no worries, Mr. A, I've finished, take the time to maybe swap with somebody and spend time going through their work. to make sure that they've done the right thing as well. And hopefully they'll do the same for you to help you with your learning. Now, one last thing I've forgotten to do down here, I need to understand how to use the following code better. Again, I haven't had to sort of rearrange any text, so I'm still waiting to have a go at this one. So I'm just going to put that one there. Okay, it's something that I can work on to maybe understand again. All right, everybody. So that's the end there. So hopefully you've gone through there and found lots of these things yourselves, and you've found some other ones. If you think there's something that I've missed, please come up and let me know, because I'd love to chat to you about that. And yeah, so well done, everybody.